This is legit unbelievable. You play fantasy football all year long for you to go up against Kyle Pitts round one of the fantasy playoffs. Kyle Pitts, of all players, it's understandable if you go up against Puka Nacua and he drops 40 on your head. Like, it sucks if you go up against Jahmyr Gibbs and he scores 45. But if you go up against a team and you look at their roster and you see, oh, they only have one guy playing tonight. It's Kyle Pitts. And then for Pitts, of all players, to drop 45 points on you must be the worst way to end your year imaginable. It's like, I did not have to go up against the Kyle Pitts team in the Flock League. I am on bye this week. Thank God. This is why it's so damn important to earn the bye week in your league. Because maybe you had the best team in your league and you just had to play against Kyle Pitts. Literally unbelievable. But let's go ahead. Let's talk about it all. Maybe we need to update some rankings. Maybe we need to move up Kyle Pitts dramatically. I will say, if y'all were in the live stream before the game, y'all knew we said, if you had Kyle Pitts, you started him. He projected out to be the number one receiving option in this game with no Drake London. He was an easy start, but of course, I could have never imagined that he was going to do what he just did. Now, looking at Kirk Cousins, would I ever pick him up to stream? No. He has a great game tonight. And yeah, the weapons may be better if you get Drake London back next week, but ultimately, I honestly think that this Tampa Bay Buccaneers defense is just absolute garbage. They just lost to the New Orleans Saints, of all teams. Going over to the running backs, Bijan Robinson, Tyler Algier, Bijan, bell cow level back. I've had him here in A tier. I don't necessarily... Maybe I move him ahead of Devon Achane and just drops 30 points in this game, but honestly, it really just matters the matchups that you have the next few weeks. You already knew you were starting Bijan Robinson every week. Going over and looking at what you have with the receivers, they're meaningless. Darnell Mooney, I don't even know if he cracked our top 50 wide receiver rankings, even with no Drake London. Not interested in Darnell Mooney whatsoever. The only player that you'd be interested in is Kyle Pitts. And I'm going to workshop a new ranking for Kyle Pitts for y'all here in this video. And let me know if you think that I'm crazy. But I think the only tight ends I would rather have in fantasy over the next few weeks would be McBride, Bowers, Kittle. Now, the question that you have with Pitts is, what's the setup when London does come back? Because when London comes back, the target volume is going to go dramatically down. Kyle Pitts was a very easy start this week because you had no London. But if London's back next week, I do think you lower expectations. But honestly, not much changes with the Atlanta Falcons offense. You already knew who to start. You already knew who to bench. Going over to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Baker Mayfield, we had as a streaming option based off matchup here, QB 13. Don't really think that this game changes that. Bucky Irving doesn't really score many fantasy points in this contest, but honestly, I would be encouraged by the Bucky Irving utilization. Like, it sucks that Sean Tucker gets the goal line rushing touchdown. Don't get me wrong. I mean, it was kind of funny. We were in the call with the Flock League creators, and whenever Sean Tucker went out there on the one, Zach had a little bit of a heart attack, but nonetheless, it sucks that Bucky didn't get the goal line opportunity. He still saw the vast majority of the snaps, the vast majority of the opportunities. Bucky had 19 in this game. Going over and looking at what we have with Bucky in our rest of season ranks, maybe knowing that the goal line role is a little bit in question, you'd rather have James Cook, but I still think he's a B tier running back. I don't think that changes. Here's what changes. I was very hesitant where I didn't want to start really any of these Tampa Bay Buccaneer wide receivers with Mike Evans coming back in. Because the reports before the game, they were telling us Mike Evans isn't going to play every down. Mike Evans is going to be on a snap count. But I was like, oh, he's Mike Evans. I'm going to assume that he is good enough to take away from Chris Godwin, good enough to take away from Igbuka. And not only was he good enough to take away from them, he was good enough to be the alpha wide receiver among them. And after this type of game, it's very easily seen that Mike Evans is a wide receiver that you are starting next week. Igbuka, Chris Godwin are wide receivers that you are benching next week. I had Mike Evans ranked as a wide receiver 3 in our rest of season rankings. And at this point, like, I have DK Metcalf on my team. I probably prefer Mike Evans. I think Mike Evans moves himself in a range where he is somebody that you are having to start with confidence over the next 2 weeks. It'd be tough to say otherwise. Now, of course, with that in mind, I think Igbuka as well as Chris Godwin are going to continue to demand targets. And this game was a super high-scoring contest, so that is worth pointing out. But how I'm going to be ranking these wide receivers going into the future will be that Evans probably is a must-start option in most formats. Godwin as well as Igbuka will probably be names that you want to bench, even though obviously Godwin had the receiving touchdown in this contest. But I think that's all I got for this stream. I mean, obviously we're in week 15, so there's not necessarily too much to discuss when it comes to like, oh, this changes completely of how we view this player. The only thing that really changed from this game is Mike Evans went from being a player I didn't want to start to now Mike Evans is a player that I want to start, but you already knew you were starting Kyle Pitts. And Andrew says, how are you feeling in best ball? I'll show this real quick just because I know some people are interested. And obviously with my redraft league, very transparent. Y'all can see absolutely everything that I have going on there. In the flock league, y'all see every draft pick I make. Y'all see every trade I make, every start sit decision. And in the flock league, back-to-back years, we have earned a bye. So think pretty good results in our redraft stuff. Best ball, spend a lot of time in the offseason doing it. Absolutely love it. It's perfect for me. Somebody that can't sit there and submit 50 starting lineups every Sunday. I don't have the time. I have to live stream. So I draft a ton of underdog best ball teams, and our underdog best ball teams absolutely crushed. We made a ton of money in the eliminator, had teams get very far. And our advance rates, we advanced 26.5% of our teams with a baseline expectation of 17.2%. So we performed extremely well in the regular season, but here's going to be the problem. I have not checked how many teams we have Kyle Pitts on, and this is going to be the only thing that matters. I tweeted this out near the end of the game. I spent 5 months drafting 600 plus underdog teams, and the only thing that matters is how many of them I took Kyle Pitts on. Like, we had a ton of teams in the dance, got a ton of teams to the playoffs, but when a tight end comes out and drops 45 points in week 15, they're going to be the key that you need to advance in those playoff tournaments to continue to go through. So, yeah, it's tough. I hope that it's not like we faded Kyle Pitts in best ball drafts. It's not like we were aggressively targeting him. I don't know how much Kyle Pitts we ended up with. That will be something I need to look into. But our advance rates were super good. But the fact of the matter is, if we didn't draft a lot of Kyle Pitts, or we didn't advance a lot of Kyle Pitts, then our resulting playoff dollars that we're going to earn will be no bueno. But let me pull this up. Can I see? I'm going to bbmd.com, seeing if they have stuff out for this. I can't really figure this out yet. I'll have to see what the average Kyle Pitts exposure was and what ours is. But really appreciate you, ladies and gentlemen. Really hope that you do not have to play against Kyle Pitts. If so, rest in peace. Play better defense. And yeah, really hope you got lucky and were able to start Kyle Pitts. But much love, and I'll see you in the live.